I walk a lonely road, the only road that I have ever known.
Warning, the following video contains lots of angst, serious topics, and very angsty moments. If you cannot handle certain topics along these lines, please click off the video now. The foul language will be tried to put to a minimum like always. But for the rest of the video, please enjoy. But like I said, there will be a lot of tense moments. Proceed with caution. The beginning. Inko Midoriya gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy. His name was Izuku Midoriya. However, her husband, Izuku's father, noticed the quirk that Izuku had possessed. Izuku's father, all for one, checked to see what his son's quirk was by using his own. Noticing the ability of his son's quirk, he took it for himself. He used his quirk to recreate another child, per se. With using his quirk and his doctor, I guess, with his help, the both of them together had created an artificial human. Her name was Midoriya. She was to be Izuku's twin sister. Her sole purpose was to watch over him and to turn him into something when he was older. But for right now, they would just be family. He gave his daughter whatever quirk he thought would be beneficial for this mission. He decided on something kinda simple, but not too much. He decided something that's like his, but different. She could recreate quirks, as many as she wanted if she could remember what they looked or felt like. She could also recreate things that she could think of in full detail. Her ability was called Recreate. By using her bloodstream, her blood could form into anything that she wanted as long as she could think about how it could be recreated. If she heard about something magical, she could input that magic, at least a weaker version of it, into whatever item she recreates. Her imagination was her power. As long as she kept that going, she'd be okay. She had a very powerful quirk, and he made sure she had it when she was born. Saddened, he had no choice but to make his wife believe that they had twins, changing medical records along with her mind. Saddened by this, but he still went through it. A few years later, the twins are now 4. Inko Midoriya and her husband, all for one, got into a fight. This fight did not end out too well. He had to leave. He knew that he had to leave for our safety. He put Wyan on his lap one day, deciding it was time, now that her quirk is fully activated. It's time for her to know the truth, at least a little part of it, to help her move along in the right direction. Around this age, Wyan had developed her quirk pretty early on, and her father had to take extra precaution to make sure her quirk was under control, having to put an inanimate object through some trials in order to make it where she can control her quirk better. She often carried along a little pillow that would help her control her quirk. It was infused with a lot of power that her father created. She would often carry it around. She would get made fun of for it, but she wouldn't pay no mind to it. Her father sat her on his lap one day and told her a story of the truth behind All Might, the truth of his work. But he left out details, many details. She was told about a stepbrother, about how he has to do certain bad things in order to protect his family, that he would do anything to protect his family, or the family that he's building with us and my stepbrother. He told her about Izuku, how he was in danger because of the quirk that he had to take. He had to take away Izuku's quirk. It was a danger to him, and then how he needed her to protect Izuku at all cost. Lion, being very young, thought she understood. She agreed with her dad to keep it a secret with Izuku, to keep it a secret for Izuku, and protect him at all cost. One day, she happened to catch a video of All Might. It was an old one, not recorded by many other reporters, a hidden video. It was a video of a fight between All Might and her father, an old one. Her dad looked so different back then. When she saw all the things All Might had did to her father, she hated him. She couldn't help it. She didn't like hating people, but she couldn't help but hate him. She was turned away from heroes. She didn't really care about what she was going to be in the future. All she cared about was protecting her family, like her father. Family was top priority. When she asked him about the video, his eyes went downcast, like as if he was embarrassed and ashamed that she had to see that. He told her his version of the story, and like the young girl she was, she believed him. He took her to meet her stepbrother and some other members of his business, as he would describe it. She met Kurogiri, and he kind of became like a second uncle to her. He was very wise and really nice. Her stepbrother, who she was not allowed to touch, they played video games together, and they actually got along very well. It was like as if they were actual siblings. It was a lot of fun. She had so much fun hanging out with her father and his business friends and stepbrother. When she would come back, though, Izuku never liked Dad very much. After watching the All Might video with me, in his mind, all he knew was Dad was bad because All Might beat him. So he liked All Might. It made Lion very mad, but she understood that he was just confused. He would understand one day, when he's older. Time skipped to middle school. Lion and Katsuki and Izuku were walking. Lion had been getting bullied by someone that she nicknamed Kay. She paid no mind to it. with the intense training her father puts her through. His cuts and bruises that he would give her felt like nothing. When she told her father about him, he said he had a plan, and that on the last day of school, she would never have to hear from him again. She didn't understand what he meant back then, until it happened. But that's besides the point. She was hanging out with Izuku and Katsuki, acting her normal self. Bubbly, but kind of spacey. So, where are we going?
There's this new machine they put it into this place. I'm curious about it.
Okay. They entered to a different side of the school they had not really been to that often, and tried out the new machine. Days were often like this, except normally they would be in a different spot. They would hang out. Waya never had the same classes as Izuku, which made her very upset. They tried to pull wires to get him to be in the same classes, but with Wayan's quirk and the hardship she had trying to control it, it was rather impossible for them to be in the same class. She had to be in a special class for her abilities. Her and Katsuki were actually really good friends. She trusted Katsuki a lot. Her and Katsuki, they had a special connection compared to everyone else in the school and everyone else, like, even stronger than her and her brothers. Her and her brother were two peas in a pod, basically inseparable. Although he was more bubbly and kinder, although she knew he was getting bullied, he still remained his bubbly little self. Her, on the other hand, she was basically a two-faced person. Her true self was shown when she was hanging out with Izuku, but she hid all personality, all emotion when dealing with anyone else in a negative way. She was numb towards pain. Very numb towards pain. She was still a person. She just didn't like how society viewed the world. She really didn't like how society viewed the world. I mean, heroes still do bad. Why are they treated so wonderfully? Her and Shigaraki, her stepbrother, who she would occasionally call Shiggy, had the same opinion on the matter. Time skip. 11 months before we have to transfer to high school. Only 11 months. Katsuki and Izuku were fighting, while Wayan was sitting in the back, drinking some juice. She looked at both of them fighting. She threw her pillow at her brother's face. At this point in time, she was able to control her quirk pretty well, that she really didn't need her pillow. It was only a precaution that she had to keep it around. The pillow smacked Izuku in the face, making him tumble over a little bit. Wayan, why are you guys fighting so much? Jeez, like an old married couple. We are not. They looked at each other with a really funny pout glare, and then sat down next to me on each side. Katsuki was on my right, Izuku was on my left. You two are weird. I used my quirk to create something random that popped in my head. To swipe my... I basically put like a fly swatter and slapped my pillow back to where I was at. I caught it with one hand and there we go. Katsuki always liked to see my quirk. He'd always stare very intensely whenever I would use it. And wouldn't speak and kind of went wide-eyed every time I would use it. Like he was speechless. Izuku, on the other hand, would just take his notebook out and start charting notes every time I used my quirk for something either A, new, or B, in a different way than I normally use it. Wow, Ryan, you're really unlimited in power. I'm jealous. I'm sorry, Uku. No, it's okay. You guys are both nerds. Katsuki says, taking a sip of my juice. Hey, that's mine! I whine. It's too bad, mine now. Kachan. Deku. And there they go fighting again. Over my juice. I create, something to whack both of them in the head. Both of us looked up to hear the bell. Bye, Ryan. Later. Bye, guys. Finally, you guys are done. Hi, Kay. Over here, princess. This way. We still have a couple minutes before our class starts. I know. This time was different, though. When Kay led me to an area, we kept walking until... Dad? I questioned, seeing Father standing there in the area he normally beat me up in. Ah, there you are. I was waiting for you two to arrive. Who's this? Someone you're not going to like, my father answered for me. Come with me. He pointed at Kay. What makes you think I'm going to go with you, old man? Dad uses his quirk to stab Kay's arm and pull him towards him. What the? Meanwhile, I'm pretty numb to the situation. I don't fully comprehend what's happening. Like I said, come with me. You too, Pumpkin. Okay, Daddy. I say in a lighter voice than usual. We both walk with my dad for a while. Kay looked very confused. Very confused. We kept walking. And eventually, Dad stopped at this random alley. We were a little bit far away from school. We would still make it on time, though, if we hurried in about 4 minutes back to class. There was Kirogiri. And Shiggy. What are you guys doing here? What am I doing here? Kay, tried, I guess, to correct me. It's simple. You're here to atone for your actions. My dad simply replied. Shiggy smiled at this and went up to him. Don't worry, we won't hurt you much, as long as you just, take one for the team and die quickly. he said, offering his hand. Cage laughed out loud and then jumped towards me, biting my neck, making blood ooze out like crazy. He drank whatever he could, and then came back with a horn forming on his head. You really want to fight me? With your pumpkin's blood, I'll easily win this fight. Dad stabbed him with his quirk, immediately taking his quirk away. Oh, we weren't actually going to kill you. Well, you were going to die, and then infused with another person. Don't worry, I'll give you your quirk back once you become our first test dummy. Test dummy? I say, patching up my own blood. Kirigiri rushes over to help me. He manages to patch my wounds up with some bandages he had prepared. I'm guessing they saw this coming. Shigaraki grabbed Kei's hand with all 5 of his fingers. His entire hand was disintegrated, while Kei couldn't use his power. Kirigiri opened a portal, and Kei was shoved through it. Now, you won't have to deal with him bothering you ever again. What? I've collected a new quirk that could help you finish with those scars that you have been covering up. Dad was referring to the fact that I had been purposely using a tub, let's say, of foundation to cover up scars every morning. I gotten so good at it that I can practically use my quirk to make a cloak disguise out of my foundation. Come with me. We'll patch you up and then we'll teleport you closer to your class so you can just make it on time. Okay. I go with Dad, and I see Doc. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm here to, heal the scars, child.
Oh, okay. After a little bit, all my scars were completely gone. What the? How'd you do that, Doc?
Your father has acquired a new quirk that helps with healing better than the regeneration quirk we found a couple months ago. Well, years ago, actually. Time does fly, doesn't it? Your training will be complete, but I'm pulling you out of school for the 10 months that's to come.
What?
I need you in complete training, and I think your brother has to do complete training as well.
Training? I have a little, quirk prediction of what might happen to our beloved Izuku. What's gonna happen to Uko? I question, a little scared. Don't worry. Nothing bad. Nothing bad at all. In fact, I think Izuku is going to get a new quirk. By someone we both don't like. And he'll be able to enter UA with you. How do you know this? I may have attacked an old friend of All Might's to figure this out. But don't worry, he doesn't remember it was me. So, yes. In the prediction, Izuku will take hold of All Might's quirk. Like the story you told me? Precisely. Does this mean I have to enter UA? Yes, at all cost. Understood. Don't worry. When you get into UA, it'll be very helpful and beneficial to us.
I heard All Might's gonna start teaching there, making it easier for us to get rid of bad heroes like him. I hope so. By the way, there's another boy I want you to meet, but not right now. In months prior, there'll be a boy you will have to meet. He'll help you along your way. Okay. Time skip. 10 months until UA. Man, Kachan can be so mean. What did he say this time? He just threatened me again, exploded my shoulder, and threw my notebook out the window. I swear, Katsuki's never gonna change, is he? I started to make hand gestures to make a joke of Katsuki, which made Izuku giggle. I don't know, maybe one day he will change. You're really optimistic. I know. So, you still set on going to UA? Well, duh. I mean, isn't that where you're going? I'll only enter if you enter. Wait, really? Yeah. I would hate to have to go to UA alone. And if I'm going to be stuck with Katsuki for the rest of my life, I want to make sure I have my bro with me to protect me. Yeah, I noticed you guys don't really fight like me and him do. Why do you guys fight so much? Well, he does treat me kind of bad when we're not around you. I know, and I've already smacked him in the back of the head about 1,000,000 times, and he still won't listen to me. Sorry. It's alright. What's that? Oh, I just got a text from a friend from school. In my class, I have a project due with them. They asked me if I could meet them at the school, meet them back at the school real quick. They had something they forgot to give me. Oh, okay. I'll head home without you then. Rude? Do you want me to wait for you? No, don't worry, it's okay. Go ahead and head home. I'll be back at home soon. Okay. Izuku walked away, waving as I walked back. I felt bad to lie to Izuku, but it was for his own safety. It was actually Dad who texted me. It's time. You must leave Izuku alone for a little bit. It's Ren. Okay. I head back towards the direction of my school. Maybe I can bump into Katsuki and, show him not to mess with my brother for the 15th million time. I walk around the school to see if Katsuki was still there. To my surprise, he was pretty close. He was in some random alleyway, talking with some friends. I was about to approach them when suddenly he kicked something and a sludge explosion happened. What the heck? He caught a hold of Katsuki while the other two were pushed out of the way by other pro heroes. Since I was hiding in the back alleyway where everyone else was not at, on the other side, I had a better opening. I used my quirk to create a vacuum cleaner of such, very powerful and of such, to basically suck the sludge off of Katsuki. As I walk closer, I'm basically sucking all of the sludge off of Katsuki. From behind. So no one could really see me. The sludge monster obviously noticed and tried attacking whatever was behind. I used my quirk to help to quickly dodge with the vacuum cleaner,
as he tried to drown Katsuki even more. Suddenly, I heard noises. I looked in the front of the crowd and there was Izuku, trying to help Katsuki. I jumped out from my hiding spot and used the vacuum cleaner to get closer to where Katsuki's side was at and where Izuku was at. What are you doing here? Wyan? What are the both of you doing here? I hated the situation. I quickly tried to get rid of as much sludge as possible. Using my quirk, I got almost half of it into the vacuum cleaner before a big old gust of wind stopped me halfway. It was him. That jerk All Might. He grabbed all three of us, destroying the sludge monster. At least my bro was safe. That's all I need to care about for now. We were put back down while All Might got bombarded by reporters. Of course. Mr. Fame and Glory. People started to commend my bravery, but I barely listened to them. People were starting to scold Izuku while I barked. Hey, at least he had the guts to help him, unlike all you freaking heroes. I yelled out. Wyan? I hugged my brother from behind. All of you guys just stood back there while a little boy could have been killed. He could have suffocated to death while all of you just stood back. At least he had a courage to go out there and help someone in need. I yelled back. Clearly mad. The heroes look at me and back away, agreeing a little bit while the crowd started to agree with me a little bit too. They backed off as I picked up Izuku, checking all of his injuries. He only had about 2, and they weren't really that major. But seriously, Izuku, why did you run in there? You could have been really hurt. My legs just started moving. I couldn't stop them. I looked at Izuku. We're getting you home. Now? Come on. I want to make sure you're not injured anywhere else by what we can't see right now. Okay. Katsuki! I yelled towards Katsuki, who was clearly upset about the whole situation, especially since I used him as an example for a helpless damsel in distress. Katsuki. He didn't look at me. I picked up both my brother and Katsuki with both of my hands. Come on, you two. What the? Why am... Using my quirk to help me, I picked up both of them and we went on our way. Reporters and people tried to chase us down, but I managed to lose them. I don't need your help! Get the heck away from me! I dropped Katsuki and carefully put my brother down. I'm sorry. It's just I got really worried. Why did both of you have to get in so much trouble? I started to become shaky. My best friend and the brother that I would die for worried so much. They could have died today. I was overwhelmed. I never really cared about what happened to myself, but those two, they're the reason I'm stable. With all the horribleness of society and how they droop down on our family, and all the stuff Dad has to go through, especially since he can't even have... Dad has to go through so much for us. And yet, Mom and Izuku try to pretend he doesn't even exist. Our family's so torn up, and it's just... Society's a mess, and I almost broke down. You guys could have been killed today. Just Why can't you guys be more careful? Both of them stopped in their tracks after whatever they were planning to do. They both looked at me, unsure what to do. Dang it, you guys. I ran up to both of them. Damn it, you two. I squeezed them really tight into a hug. Don't scare me like that. They hugged me back, both of them. Katsuki mumbles out a sorry while Izuku apologizes about 5 times over. After a while, Katsuki starts to leave. He has to get home eventually. He offers me to go with him, saying that he could buy me a drink before he can go home. Izuku tells me to go for it while he heads home. Are you sure? I don't want you in any more trouble. You go ahead and go. You look like you need to get some stuff off your mind. Plus, I need to hurry home. I'm pretty sure Mom heard what happened, and I know she's worried sick about me. Okay. Me and Katsuki went to a nearby store. He got me a juice and got himself one too. The hell was that? You never break down. A lot of stuff's been happening recently, and that just, I don't know, it tipped my scale. I metaphored. Katsuki's side hugged me. You think too much. We didn't move for a little bit. For some reason, I just wanted to hug somebody. I leaned into Katsuki's touch. We stayed like that for a few more minutes before we break the side hug. Katsuki's face is really red. Mine's a little pinkish myself. I basically drop off Katsuki at his house before he asked me, you want to stay for a little bit? Shouldn't I go check on Izuku? I'm pretty sure the nerd's fine. Okay. I can stay for a little bit, I guess. Me and Katsuki watched a couple of shows while laughing at them for their poor quality and just making fun of the shows in general. I practically fell asleep, leaning onto his chest. Hopefully I'll get better. A couple days later, Dad had pulled me from school to be homeschooled for a little bit, for special training purposes. Izuku and Katsuki were very upset from this, but I told them it was for special training that Dad had planned. When I mentioned Dad had it planned, Izuku became worried, along with Katsuki. Katsuki never knew our dad personally, but he never really liked the idea of the guy after what he's heard from Izuku, from pestering with him with questions about our father. Both of them protested, but I ended up getting their permission? I don't know. I got away with it anyway. After 10 months of hardcore training, I came back. Izuku, practically in tears, was really happy to see me. But when he hugged me, I noticed something was different. Izuku? Do you have abs? What? I pushed Izuku's hands off and leaned down, lifting his shirt. Why, and we're in public? True, we were at the airport. where I had just flew in. Holy crap, Izuku! I've only been gone for 10 months. How did you go from a 0-pack to a 6-pack? Izuku was trying his hardest to pull his shirt back down. Katsuki was walking towards us. Is she here yet? What the heck is happening here? Holy crap, Katsuki, did you know Izuku has abs? I say, still with Izuku's shirt up. Why you hadn't put my shirt back down? Katsuki blinked in shock. Wait, what? Katsuki went alongside me and started poking Izuku's abs as well. Holy crap, the nerd does have abs. What the heck, Deku? I know, look! Both of us continued to poke Izuku's abs while I very strongly gripped Izuku's shirt upward so we can both take a good look. Both of you get off of me! He said. The next day was going to be the day of the exam. All three of us had a very fun hangout day to catch up and see how things were going. It was pretty fun. The day of the exam. Me, Katsuki, and Izuku all entered the building. We all walked in together. Izuku almost tripped a couple times out of excitement. Why is the nerd even here? 'Cause you know I won't even come without him. I would have came anyway? I know. That's just the excuse I'm using for Katsuki. After the rules get explained, and I almost chopped someone's head off for insulting Izuku during the whole orientation? I don't know. The whole presentation? I don't know. After being held back by both Katsuki and Izuku, we finally make it to our areas. Okay. Time to pass. Not like I have a choice. I think in my head. Okay. So, the goal to becoming a hero. Help people and fight bad guys. So, kill all the robots and help people in need. I got this. Once the thing begins, I start to think about this weird commercial about what if we had flying boots. I start to materialize them while I put magic shoes on to make me fly. I fly over the crowd straight to where all the robots were at, destroying as many as I possibly could, making sure that none of the destroyed robots hit any of the people, being very careful and thorough with my stuff. One time, one robot I smashed into a million pieces. It almost slapped another person in the face. I used my quirk to make a pan of sorts to hit it back to another area where no one was at. Sorry, I say out loud, while continuing to collect my points. 37, I say out loud. When suddenly, a gigantic robot starts coming our way. I look back at it with a pretty evil glare. That must be a 0-pointer. Noticing that people were in the way of it. Showing my strength while also helping other people. Sounds like a good way to go. I jumped up using the boots I had created. My quirk didn't really last for very long. Only about 5 minutes, honestly. I could create pretty much everything, but it didn't have the luxury of lasting for like hours. It only lasted about 5 minutes before I had to recreate them. And I could only recreate about 4 things at a time at the moment. I used my boots that I had to recreate about 4 times during this entire match. Use them to fly up, and using small other items that I would create to help other people get out of the way. If it's small items, I can create about 50. If it's big items, I only can do about 4. So, I move some people out of the way. Carefully and hopefully in a good way, so they don't get hurt. As I destroy the robots, that way it can't hurt anybody. I put all the piles of the metal into a certain corner where no one was at, so no one would get hurt. I fly back down. My stomach was starting to hurt. My bloodstream was running low, so I was getting very cold. I cut my finger for the 15th time today, which is how I get access to my quirk, by cutting my finger or getting some form of access to my bloodstream. It took a while, but I managed to create one last item, which I threw straight into a 1-point robot. Okay. 3, 9. Before I pretty much collapsed into the ground. I coughed a bit before I took out a bottle of water that I had hanging on my hip just in case. I drank the entire contents of it. Water helps with the bloodstream, right? I took one of my medication pills that my dad told me about that helps with my bloodstream. Swallowed it, drank some water, and hoped I would be okay. Eventually, an old lady came to our area and gave me a kiss on the head. Suddenly I started to feel a lot better, like my blood was returning back to me. You have a powerful quirk, although it seems to hurt you a lot. Hopefully you don't use it too much. I wouldn't want you to become a regular when you get to the school. Okay, I say cheerfully. Some people stared at me, kind of in amazement, but at the same time not. Some of them looked at me like as if I was a different being or creature, being able to create so many things and use them freely in air like that. Especially things that don't really exist in the real world. Like flying boots, for instance. A time skipped to later. The exam was over. I noticed a weird black-haired boy kept staring at me. I don't know who that was, but oh well, I ignored him. I went back to where Izuku and Katsuki were at. Izuku looked defeated. Katsuki looked proud. And I had a mellow face. What's your score? 39. 60. Show off. Izuku stayed quiet. I signaled Katsuki to cut off the conversation. He was about to continue the conversation before I slapped him in the back of the head. Fine. Anyways, you guys want to get something to eat before we go home? I nodded and I looked at Izuku. You want to get something to eat? I gave him a bright smile. Okay. Eventually we got home. About another week happened and, no surprise, I got into UA. I looked for Izuku. He got into UA too, right? That's what Dad said? I got in. I pretended to act shocked. I got pretty good at pretending emotions. Ever since I met that other guy. Kay. I wonder what happened to him. Dad said something about like a Nomu, but I don't know. Something along those words. I wonder what that is. Oh well. I go and give Izuku one of the biggest hugs in the world. I was really happy. You did it, Uku. You did it. I don't know how, but you did it. It really felt bad to lie to Izuku. Of course I knew how he got his quirk and everything. I can't believe it. After a while, it finally became the day. Me, Katsuki, and Izuku. We all entered the school. Of course, I passed with flying colors. I got a pretty dang good amount of hero points. Like, damn.
We all entered the classroom we were all supposed to be in. Me and Izuku bubbling like two little idiots because we were in the same class for once. Finally! We're in the same class! Okay, guys, I'm gonna cut it off here. This was YN First Draft Part 1. If you guys want a Part 2 of YN First Draft, there is way more to this comic. There's like angsty Curie, there's more of a fight with Uraraka. It's gonna be kind of crazy. I'm actually gonna do Part 2 later today, so look forward to that. But before I go, I have to, of course, say my little outro. Alright, my little mangoes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you got a little weary trying to watch it, don't worry. It was kind of a mild episode today. But yeah, this is YN First Draft. See how YN originally was. Alright, bye my little mangoes. Stay safe, stay clean, and I'll see you guys next time. Love you guys!